All right, live. What is that?
Yep.
Episode 9 now. Just
Yep.
just back to you and me.
Right.
Uh I guess I'll ask you today
For
how
sure.
you been, bro. Well, I guess maybe we need to back up. We got to talk about what went down the other day. I guess you and I need to talk about it before we can edit it out if you want to not put it in
Oh,
there
all
or
right. For
whatever.
sure. I mean, I
We
feel
can leave
like
it in there. Yeah, that's
even if
fine.
we leave it in there, it kind of gives people the real um life example of like just figuring shit out, you know?
Yeah, so everybody's aware, Alex does, I will put it lightly, 90% of what goes into this, especially behind the scenes, with editing the show, putting it all up and putting like posts up and whatnot. And the other day, I had a buddy of mine ask me if we were on Apple Podcasts. And I was like, no, well, I thought I was because my impression of the software that we're using called Anchor was that it would promote or at least push out the show to all of the different platforms all at once. So you would essentially finish editing, you'd put it on this site, and then it would blast off into Narnia, into all the different platforms.
hmm
So I found out that that's not the case, but after the fact, because my buddy's like, hey, I looked for you guys on Apple Podcasts and we weren't there. So I told Alex, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to make an Apple Podcast account. And in my mind, I was like, okay, so I can make the account and I'll just throw you the username and password so that we didn't have to have us record, then you go edit, and then you go upload to four different, or you go upload to Anchor or Spotify, and then put it back onto what we use the Google Drive for me to then upload onto something else. So I was just like, man, we could just, streamline, and I'll just give you the username and password and you can just use it through my account to upload. Well, there was, I don't know if it was a miscommunication or what, but it was like I was super confused as to like what was going on because you were talking about uploading like four at a time. And then I guess you understood what I was saying, and we're just gonna kind of hash it out now, kind of live. So
So basically, the way it works is we record two different Zoom calls because we don't pay for a subscription on Skype or Zoom, excuse me. So we can't just record one session. So you record, you send me the link, we record the conversation, then we do the same thing over. You upload part one, part two into the Google Drive. So then as soon as it's done uploading, which takes a while, I have to then download both of them separately, start a Premiere Pro project, and then I'll try to correct any of our mess ups or if there's something personal we discuss because we can decide what the final product is. We can take out what we want. And that's why in one of the episodes we were joking about how hard of an edit was. It's because that was the weakest one we had done where we didn't do the update first. We went straight into the four agreements and then it got choppy, remember? So for people listening, like that's why it's cool. You can just, create the timeline based off of what you want said. So every time I do that, I export that file, I upload it to Anchor, and that takes hours of my time, but I do it during work, so it's just on the back browser using Works Wi-Fi. And then I create the paragraph saying what we talked about, the episode title, whatever. And then as soon as that's done, I have to do the exact same thing on YouTube. I have to go into the YouTube, then upload it, put the thumbnail art on it or whatever. So Blaise had asked me to get the Apple podcast going, and I hadn't done that. So I apologize that I was slacking on that. But then now that this is something that you'd like to do, what I was trying to get across the other day was for me to take episodes 1 through 8 and upload them to the Google Drive for you to then upload to the Apple is double work. So I wanted to save your time and not waste my time because the same amount of time that it would take me to upload to the Google Drive for then you to have to do it, it could take me just as long for me to do it on the Apple podcast straight up. And then I don't know where the miscommunication was, but it was coming across that you didn't want me to do that. And it was like, I'm trying to do you a favor and prevent me from having to do double work because it could literally take 8 days in a row for me to do it. And then I lose access to my computer because I want to be able to do stuff and I need to work on my computer. So I can't edit something while that's uploading because it's too much processing and it takes hours to do. So I got kind of heated because I didn't think you understood what I was saying. And then for me to tell you I wasn't going to do it. And then you say it right back saying, got it, you're going to do it. I was just like, I'm just going to let this sit because me and you have never really gotten into it before.
Well,
And
it was definitely a miscommunication because I was under the impression that you wanted to put all 8 episodes on the drive, not onto Apple Music or Apple
bro.
Podcasts. So I was like, why would he want to do this just so I have to do it there? So I was like,
So it's literally
oh,
the
right?
opposite.
Like, yeah, it was exactly what you're saying because I was on the same exact page as you, saying like, why put it on the drive unless
You're making me feel crazy right now. I'm literally
yeah, well,
like,
I
what did I say? What
the
did
way
I
that I had
say?
read it, I was just very much so not understanding, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I was tired from, working this past week down in Florida, but
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I was literally like at the mall in Oahu with Jackson. I'm like, Blaze is being a dick right now. What the fuck? I'm
I
like, I'm trying to save time. I was pissed, bro. And again, like, because this is my first group project ever, it like is reminding me that like this is a team. Like there are gonna be times where me and you are gonna get into it, and this is our shit, you know? Like, even if I'm doing 90% of the work right now, this is ours. And I keep myself in check. So that was the one time that my pride's coming up and I'm just like, fuck, like leave it be. Don't say anything. Don't respond. And I feel like I handled it pretty well. And this is not how I thought this conversation was going. I thought like you and the other thing too with pride, I guess, is you're telling me what to do. It's like I'm literally doing us a favor and I didn't think you understood that. So I'm like, don't fucking tell me what I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna help us. And this is fucking hilarious
it
that
was beyond confusing, dude. I was on the same page as you, honestly, but I guess the communication was not there because I was just like, why would you send it to me through the drive for me to then upload when you
no, I
already
get it.
have the
I get
final
it.
product? It
That
would make so
yeah.
much more sense for you to just do them all. And that's why I was like, I'm cool with making it, but you were like, I want you to upload, or like it's gonna waste my time to upload all 8. And to me, I was like, are you not gonna want to put them on Apple Podcasts now? I
Nah,
was
dude.
so
This is
listen, that's what
comedy,
I'm
bro.
telling you.
This is
I was
comedy.
I was
Fucking don't make
so
assumptions. Let's run it back. 4
oh
agreements.
my gosh, you need to hit it back. I
Literally,
was
I put
so
I'll
confused,
track.
dude.
I said I'll try tackle making up 1 through 8. Once I have everything up, we can start having you do it for the rest. I want to upload straight to the Apple podcast because it's double the work. Me to do it, then you. If you did it, we'll get the flow soon. I promise. And that's why I was like, I'll do these, and then literally after we record tonight, I got some shit I'm gonna do later. I'll edit everything and then re-upload it. I'll download part 1, part 2, edit it, give you a complete file that I'll re-upload to Google Docs, and then I'll do my 2, you do the 1. But you can't do that yet because you don't have 001 through 8. So now I have another one I got to do. So 1 through 9 is my responsibility, and I'll get that done over the next week. So we have all of them, and I don't want to post them out of order. That's why I said I was OCD too, because I'm like,
Yeah,
let me just like,
I'm understanding. I'm understanding.
this
But
is
again,
hilarious. I'm glad we just came to this resolution because I was shocked.
no,
I'm like,
that's why
this
I
is
was like,
crazy.
why does he want? Are we just not going to put those on? Are the people not going to know things when we do callbacks? I was again just
How
so
funny.
beyond confused. All
Jason's
right,
gonna get a kick out of that too, because I was just like explaining everything, and I'm like, he just doesn't get it.
that's
So
what I thought about you, man. I was like, what the fuck is this guy
I
talking
feel like I
about
should
right now?
screenshot all of it, put it out there. So nah,
You
we don't need
should.
to
Well,
do
I mean, you
that.
could. I equally as confused. Because I
Yeah.
don't know when you said that you're gonna do 1 through 8, and then we would do it later. I was like, is he gonna upload 1 through 8 to where? Like, I guess it was just confusing to me where you were putting them. I don't know.
Well,
Whatever.
the last part I'll say this, and we can move on. Is I thought it was also funny because I told Jason, I said, I don't have to fucking listen to him. I'll just do it. And then I get to the Apple podcast and remember it needed a confirmation
Authentication.
email,
Yeah, yeah.
authentication through your email. So I'm like, oh, guess I can't do it because I'm gonna tell Blaze, hey, I need you to check, and you'd be like, fuck you. But that's hilarious.
And I
Okay.
actually did check, and I didn't even see an email in there, so that's kind of
Yeah.
odd too. Did you
That was
click
while you were
send?
flying. It
Uh,
my text to you didn't deliver when I sent it because you were in
does
the
it time
air.
out? Did the email time out? I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, for
Okay.
sure. So I
I was
have
gonna be
never
like,
seen the
what the
Apple
hell?
podcast yet.
Okay.
But I'm glad we came to this. This is great.
Yeah.
But let me tell you my update, bro. So
Okay. Hit me.
Oahu was awesome. We ate hella food. Isabel picked us up. I don't think we'll ever really fly out on a Friday again, because that's so much moving around when we could just leave Saturday morning, 20-minute flight, like it was pretty incredible. I don't think I've ever been on a flight that quick. But it was dope. We just circled the entire island. Isabel let us stay at her place the first night, and then we stayed at a Waikiki Marriott, Waikiki Beach. It was pretty nice, dude. It was dope. Barely got to, yeah, right, yeah. Barely got to enjoy it though. So didn't get in the water, didn't do activities. It was just a dope little introduction to Oahu, but it was a good time. And then I played basketball yesterday. So I hit up the guys on Sunday because I was trying to plan my week out. They always hit me up to play ball the day of, and I always say I don't even respond because it's a group chat, and I'm just like, I can't make it because I got shit already planned. So I kind of told them, I was like, if you want me to be consistent, just keep it the same day so I can plan it. And they all said, yeah. So this might be a new thing. And it gave me a piece of home because, we talked about my dad playing ball. He had the key to access the gym back at the high school. So the church that we go to, the school is connected, right? So he had the gym key and would organize all the church guys to play ball and just hoop after church on Sundays. So I don't have that. And then I'm over here on a Tuesday night playing with a bunch of the church guys. I was like, damn, like that's cool. Like this is a part of Cali that's now I can help create here. Is like it wasn't really a thing, like they'd hit or miss, but like if we can be like, hey, every Tuesday, so you just know to pull up, or we can start getting people in the community too to like start coming out. Another update for you is I did put myself out there and talk to my coworker to be a coach to help basketball. And I may have waited too long because one of the teams that she was referring to's last game was Saturday of last week, or just 4 or 5 days ago. And then I was like, fuck. So she had given my phone number out to her sister, who's a coach, and then to another dude. And I never got texted, and I just let her know. And then she was talking about her son, and I was like, well, let me know if you want me to shoot hoops with him. So I was like trying to salvage I missed my opportunity. So like what's cool also is me playing the last 2 weeks. I've played 2 weeks in a row now. It's me, Jared, and then 2 of the guys from the church. One of them is my cousin through marriage, Mark. And then the guy who actually married me and Jasmine, that younger guy, Caleb, he's like maybe 3 in command for the church. He's like 30, cool guy. The 4 of us played. And then it's like, when you don't have that many guys on the basketball court, it's literally like chess. It's you're not running full court. You're gonna see who has moves and who doesn't. You're gonna see like it's just there's not enough people to hide. So it was cool that like I've always been a vocal basketball player. So like I played with Mark's Filipino guy, I don't know, 5'8", 5'9", like a little bit shorter, and he was guarding Caleb. Caleb's like 6'2", 6'3", and then I'm guarding Jared, who's like 6'1", 6'2". So like I'm matched up with Jared, and I was basically like telling Mark what to do. And I asked him, I was like, is this annoying? Like, just tell me and I'll shut up, because I'm literally telling him what to do. And I'm like talking about the defender. I'm like, look, every time we screen, he's not, and I'm just being vocal. And I was just like, damn. My senior year of high school, I got the coaching award, which is kind of a shit award in my opinion, in comparison to the other kind of awards. But then I did get MVP defense my freshman, sophomore, and junior year of high school. So it was equally as shitty to get the coaching award, knowing that I didn't get 4 years in a row. Shout out Darren Afarian. Me and him, we haven't talked in years, but he got that senior year, and I was like, this little bitch took that from me. But it just got that coach itch and like mental, like, damn. And then I did it again yesterday. Is I'm telling the guys what to do, and I'm just like, damn, like it would be fun to like play with youth. And I'm not the best offensive player, but I definitely have fundamentals, and I know that. So it would be fun to like help people on defense, help people with understanding pick and rolls, when to look, pass in front to lead me, all these like things that a real hooper, has down. So that's I'll pass the mic over. But yeah, dude, that was pretty dope. And that's one of the updates is I'm like, fuck, I missed my shot, but I still want to do it, man.
Sounds like you got a little bit more motivation. And that is one thing too, I'll say about the kids that I coach, is that none of them are vocal. and lacrosse is similar to basketball. Actually, even some of the ways that you move are very similar too. The way that you like attack a defender is very similar. And when you're playing defense, especially, it's like, who's your help on one side, who's your help on the other side. You know, you got to talk. The
Yeah.
goalie's got to be in command. Yeah,
Help the
for
helper.
sure.
Pick, and then yeah, you play with me, pick left, and then somebody picks me. I'm like, dude, call fucking picks. Like, I
Yeah,
would never let you, what you just did to me, I wouldn't let happen to you, right? Like,
exactly. Running right into somebody else. Exactly.
yeah.
So it's funny how you talk about that too. And it's one of those things that I think is a challenge for kids in their early adolescence because they're not confident in that space yet.
Mm,
And whether they're not vocal, whether it's just upbringing, whether it's household, whether it's they're amongst their peers and they're not really sure how to lead and be a leader vocally on the field. They don't have to be the best player. And that's another thing that I think is lost on those guys is they think the best player has to be the one that's talking, the most skilled, I'd say. Maybe not the best, the most skilled, the guy who can shoot the hardest, the guy that can, run the fastest. But
right.
9 times out of 10, the guy that's the loudest is none of those things. And
Mm,
it's funny that in our sport, like a lot of times, if you're really loud, people don't even want to like go up one on one against you because they're like, oh shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like,
yeah.
why would I go
It's
up
kind of
against
like
him when
leadership vibes, right? Like,
exactly when this guy over here is quiet and looks like, they call him a fish when you just want to take the guy to the rack.
yeah,
So
that's funny.
it's funny that you talk about that type of stuff in your coaching sphere or your, I guess, playing sphere that you could easily translate over to a coaching sphere because there's so many
Yeah.
parallels that you just
And
drew in
you're,
that.
painting the picture in my head too. Like, okay, pick. So what do you do? Like slide down or okay, you just double teamed. He's not looking like I'm like telling him crash the board, help the helper, like hedge. I'll tell you when switch. If he's picking me at the 3-point line, I'll just be like, just hedge it. I'm like, fight it, fight it, fight it. I'm not gonna switch defenders because we have all this time to react, like it's it's fun to think that, yeah, I can definitely see that I could totally tell kids what to do. Like, yo,
Well, and yeah, you'll feel it. You'll start to feel it more and more, or you'll at least be drawn to it and you'll understand more and more like as you start to think about it when you're playing, you're like, holy shit, man, there's a 16-year-old kid that totally could use that piece of advice too. And you'll
right.
really, really start to understand and almost like internalize, and then you'll feel more and more drawn to it. It almost sounds like you're like when we first talked about it, you're like dipping a toe. And now
Mhm.
it's like you almost got like a leg in the water and you're like,
Right.
oh no.
You said
And what
assistant coach or
yeah,
head
right.
coach?
So what I thought was kind of interesting that you said was that their last game was last Saturday. Basketball is a winter sport, from what I understood. I wasn't really tracking the fact that they played summer fall. And is that
No,
just Hawaii thing or?
I'm not too plugged in right now. There's fall break. Um, I have 2 coworkers that have sons, so that's where or 3 of my coworkers. Everybody's in there. All of my coworkers like middle age, like is middle age like 30s? Yeah, like 33 and up. With
Middle age is
their
like 40 or
yeah,
50
right, not
now.
middle
I'll
age,
tell you
whatever.
what.
They all have like 12-year-olds and shit. So, um, I don't want to like give any false information, but like I'm really understanding that education out here is like really needs help, man. And like for me to find out that like 1 of 7 teachers pulled up to like a parent teacher conference, and there's just not enough teachers at Lahaina. Like literally I'm on Lahaina Luna, and Lahaina Luna on our street there's 3 schools. There's Princess, which is like an academy. There's Lahaina Intermediate, and then there's Lahaina High School. So to hear from my coworkers that like kids are literally just left in the cafeteria on their phones because there's not a teacher to teach them, it's like, man, like I don't know. But if I do get plugged into the public school system and like help with coaching or whatever, I'm pretty sure this wasn't rec ball. I think it was like actual school stuff. um Small island, small west side, I'm sure that I could try to jump in there. It's all about who everybody knows each other out here. But yeah, it's fascinating. So I don't know. I can imagine sports would be just as unorganized, but again, I don't want to make assumptions.
Yeah, so when I lived there back, oh man, I was 8 through 12, I believe, the last time I was in Hawaii. I lived there 2 different times. I believe it was 3 to 5 and then 8 through 12. The 3 to 5 I was on the Big Island, 8 through 12 on Oahu. And I know at least when I was there going through elementary school, the school system there was ranked 49th in the US
Oh
of 50.
fuck.
So
Holy.
the only state worse was Mississippi at the time.
I was
And
thinking
this
Alaska.
was
I
no,
don't know why.
this was, early 2000, mid to late 2000s, I guess it would be when I was there. But again, I'm not sure if it's gotten better or worse since.
I'll look it up.
But I
I'll
know that
find out.
it was definitely something that struggled with. And that actually led my mother homeschooled my brother and I for a bit. So I did it for a year and a half, and my brother did it for 2 full years. And the reason that I only lasted a year and a half was because I craved the interaction with other kids so much that I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
just hang out with my brother and the one or two other kids that were homeschooled on the street all day long. Like it was too much of like all the same people. Like I needed other. I'm like a social butterfly. I like to spend like 20 minutes over here chatting with these people, and then
Yeah.
30 over here, and then
Loader.
yeah, exactly. I've never like just stuck onto one group of people and always hung out with them for forever and ever. So for me, it was like I couldn't just do that. So, halfway through my second year of being homeschooled, I was like, I can't do it. I know the schools suck, or at the time they did.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was just like, I just need to go. And what was funny is I was done with school in like 2 hours when I was homeschooled, because really, if you pack that stuff in and you sit down and you grind, you can be in and out real quick,
Yeah.
especially because it was self-paced almost. So, I
Did you
don't
think
have.
your teacher was hot?
No, I don't know. I think it was. I don't even know if we had any female teachers, to be honest with you.
That was your
Um.
mom. It was a joke.
I was like, what? um.
I had two things I want to say. I really don't want to forget one of them though. I can totally relate. It's cool that we're similar in that. In high school, I was a floater too. I had my buddies. We called them like the Wolf Pack. I think it was because Hangover came out around that time. But it was me, Eddie, Savon, Dion. Shout out those guys. And then I would hang out with them, and then I would hang out with my ex, my girlfriend at the time, and then her sister and a couple of their friends. And then there was like the basketball guys. Like it was cool. Lunchtime, I would make my rounds or whatever. But um, I want you to help me remember to hold the thought. I wanted to ask you in a little bit about how many times you changed schools, and talk about like my dad, because remember he said he moved so many times.
Yeah.
But the thing about high school is like, I don't know, man. I think I was pretty bummed going into college, realizing how much time I don't want to say wasted, I don't want to talk shit, but how much time I spent with my girlfriend. And I think about like if I have kids, and it's like, I don't think my parents, I should probably ask them because my memory is shit, like what they did, or like if they encouraged it or discouraged it or whatever. But like I wasn't there with Kyle, my best friend. Like it's crazy how like in high school you truly don't understand that this is not your world, and you don't know what you don't know. And um I don't know, just maybe we can touch on it another time. But I spent so much time, and I missed out with time with the boys, and I missed out on a decent amount of stuff. And even just like, now that I'm thinking about it, this is all just off the dome, but like I remember our championship game, like her being an asshole, and like us fighting, and we would just break up and stuff. But you know what I mean? Like it would take away from the highs. I remember like on senior ditch day we fought, like that was supposed to be the fun Disneyland trip. And it was just like high school shit. Like I was an ass. Like I talked to girls and flirted and shit, like it wasn't like it was all her, but just the point was me being caught up in that in high school. Like I wonder if I'd want to protect my kids from that. Um I
Well,
don't know.
it's funny to me that you said that you spent so much time with your girlfriend, but you were also a floater. But my parents and anybody that knew me would just tell you that I just dated a whole bunch of different people. I would just like be with somebody for a month or two, and then like we'd break up, and then I'd just go date somebody
Oh,
else. So
for
I
real?
almost like floated around in that space too. So
Okay, low
I
hope.
couldn't. No, not like that, not like that. But I
I'm
would
just
say
kidding.
that I don't even think that I could, be like, oh yeah, that one person took so much of my time, because it
Oh,
wasn't
right.
it
You
wasn't
said in
really.
rotation,
It's
dog.
yeah, chill with
Well,
that.
uh, I was totally a relationship guy. I was with the same girl from like 7th grade to 12th, on and off, a small Christian school, like graduate with 50 kids. So it's not like you had too many options, but um yeah, I was with her forever. And then I broke up with her right before college. And then when we went to college, I like literally broke up with her, and I did the whole, I don't want this to be funny or anything. I'm not trying to be an ass, but it's just funny how things work. I remember telling her that like I wanted to go into college single, I don't know if I had just like watched American Pie or something, but uh I want I'm just kidding. Um I wanted to go into college single and just like have a fresh start and do my thing. But dude, she came to the same fucking school as me, bro. So like I fucked up, dude. And I've never talked to her to this day, and that was something that I kind of struggle with too. But I watched too many guys fuck up in their current relationship trying to salvage and act like it was, I just need to have closure. I just need to, you know what I mean? Like the guys that do that and it clearly is affecting their current relationship.
Right.
Like there's this one guy, I just remember he just was like, oh, texting his ex on her birthday, like it's just because like, bro, what the fuck? You can't do this shit. Anyways, I just remember feeling so bad and like learning that I fucked up because I didn't know how to treat her any different. So like I went to college and I was like talking to other girls and like having fun with the guys and shit. And I was like still hanging out with my ex, and like she thought that we were back together and stuff. And anyways, I had been with her for so many years just to be like on the prowl for a month doing my thing. And then boom, I met Jasmine and I've been with her ever since. Right. Like me and her had our ups and downs and we breaking up and whatever, but just interesting that you did your thing, dog.
Jeez.
I see you, bro.
Anyway, I'll give you an update now. We can end that. We can end
Okay,
that
okay, my fault, my
reminiscing
fault.
on that note. It's all
Do you
good.
want to tell me about the school thing, though, or do you want to go straight in?
Yeah, we can hit that real quick. So
Yeah,
changing schools, holy shit.
my dad changed 12 times, and think about like he was a loner and like he never really got to like make friends because how could he? I just wondered if there was any parallel to your life, but you're social, so I don't know.
I don't even know if I've actually counted. So we had schools in Hawaii the first time, Tennessee, Connecticut, Hawaii, and I technically went to the school and then was homeschooled. So I guess I went to the school, I was homeschooled, then I went back to the school. So it was almost like three changes there.
Yeah,
And then I went to Maryland and then went to middle school there and high school there. So that's another one. And then so I guess I did 8, I believe,
man, what these military
before
parents doing to these
colleges,
kids,
before
man?
college.
Jeez.
But very different from your dad, though. I felt like every time we moved and I went to a new school, I liked being like the new guy
The
because
kid on the block.
well, it's like at the end of the day, like you did get that fresh start all the time. So
Mhm.
I never, what I call like reinvented myself in a way, but I always was able to meet new people. And I thought that was really cool to be able to meet somebody new, learn about them, understand their quirks, things that made them tick, how to make them happy, how to make them laugh. All those things I always valued. But one thing I think it did to me moving around that much was that I never let other people get to know me like that. It was always a
Interesting.
very, what I call investigative, but not like outwardly, but I would always be kind of like trying to pick people apart and like understand the way they tick. But when people try to to know me, I would kind of deflect into like humor or deflect into something else to almost protect
So
that in a way so that they didn't, so that when the inevitability of me leaving, then I wouldn't be as upset about it. I wouldn't be as hurt about it because I didn't give out that much of myself to have it be that shitty, I guess, if that makes any
interesting.
sense.
No, that's fascinating. Does that kind of come into play on why you valued our friendship
Yeah,
when
for
we first
sure.
met?
For sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Dang, the backstory.
it's something that I have tried to improve upon, I guess, building more of a vulnerability in myself with other
Mhm.
people so that, losing people, people come and go, but it's one thing I think for me to be able to open up to people more because I think it helps them trust me more and then I get to know them more. And then, when you part ways, it's not nowadays you just pick up the phone and call somebody, you text
Right.
them or whatever. But when I was 5 through 12 or whatever, before cell phones really made an appearance in a normal day to day. That wasn't reality.
I just
I
thought of
can
a
say,
quote.
go
Let me
ahead.
know if you know it. I know way too many people here right now that I didn't know last year. Who the fuck are y'all? Sorry, I just had to.
It's all good. No,
Who is
but
it? Who is it?
it's Drake, man. Come
Hell
on
yeah,
now.
Drizzy.
But yeah, it's something that, when phones started coming out, and especially like smartphones and stuff, you can kind of keep tabs on a lot of people now with social media
Yeah,
and whatnot. And that's more of what I use it for, to just be like a little bit plugged in other people's lives and get some updates from them when you can. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how the moving around kind of shaped me into a social person that was almost a bit of I don't know, a hermit in that way too,
dang.
Yeah.
How many people do you think you have that you can do that with?
It's not a lot, man. It's probably under, I would say it's gotten larger recently because I've tried to be more, what's the word I want? Like conscious about
Yeah,
doing it.
intentional, all that. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. But I would say there's less than 20 that it's been, that I've intentionally been able to, because you said it too before. You got to pick smart too. You can't just
yeah,
give that all out willy nilly.
yeah.
I like
I
to
learned
get,
that recently though. Like coming to Maui is like a fresh slate for me because Florida and Cali, I put my time in, So coming here, I had nobody, and then a lot of my coworkers, nobody knows what I'm doing. I don't tell people about the pod. I don't tell people about my personal life. Is that I've like I moved around for so much and met so many people and realized how much people don't really reciprocate, and kind of tried to create more value on, like, are you worth, honestly, like, I guess saying it out loud sounds a little like an asshole, but like, are you worth my time?
yeah,
And it's like, especially being married, and like we talked about with my dad that Justin should be my best friend, and like I should be intentional about spending time with her. So I I was even thinking about the cousins that I connected with at that weekend, Mama's 90th party, when I told you I like blacked out, and I was like, um wanting to hang out with people, going to hang out with movies. You got 7 days in a week, and there's like shit to do. I'm busy. So like, I'm about to go to the movies tonight at 7. I'm going by myself, dude. I've never gone to the theater by myself. I'm excited. It's the fucking spooky season. We didn't address that.
oh, we didn't.
October's
It
my
is
month.
officially October.
So this is also sad that Maui just, there's no Halloween. Nobody's decorated. Nobody's, you know what I mean? I'm like, Halloween's not even here. So that's kind of a bummer to realize, is
You just
that
got to
I'm gonna
start it
go.
up. Start it up.
Yeah, I gotta
Pave the
be
way.
the one who started, brought Halloween on the map. But dude, I'm gonna see The Exorcist on the big screen. That's exciting.
Wow.
So
So no one wanted
um
to go with you? Jasmine was like, I'm out, dude. I'm not going.
I bought 2 tickets, so at least nobody sits next to me. So I told her, I was like, I don't expect you to come, and then she's like, yeah. So
Did you
I'm
not want to
also,
ask anybody else if they're like wanting to go with you?
I mean, I don't even have that many friends, bro. Be real,
I
you know.
mean, Jared could go. You got some family
Well,
that could
Jared
roll up
has
there with
a
you.
baby, and like,
Well, don't bring the
Jade's at
baby to the
home.
Exorcist. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Is that a baby? Yeah, no, he's working and she's at home, so it's his turn with the baby when he gets them. So
I
I don't think
see.
he's coming. If you're trying to pull up, you got an hour and 15.
Let's go.
You
Let's
got that
go.
private.
Airport's
Yep.
over there. Oh my gosh. All right.
What could you
Sorry.
fly fast
I
enough to
gotta
be here in
This is
time?
a great segue. I got an update for you. And I actually have a bunch, but this is the first one I'll start with. So the first thing I want to update you on is that we did this whole Florida hurricane thing, and I'm gonna hit on like the end of the trip, and then we can kind of go back to the beginning. But on the way back from Florida, we stopped at an airport in Dallas called Alliance Airfield, just a little bit north of Dallas. I guess Amazon flies in and out of there, but this place had a bunch of private jets, a lot of like local, they call it GA traffic, general aviation traffic, all over there, right? And we pull up, and me and another guy in the air crew decided to go get everybody's lunch. And we went to like a barbecue place and came back. Well, when we come back, there's a guy, there's a Gulfstream. I think it's a Gulfstream 550 sitting right next to us, right next to our plane, because we're like parked in like the big boy plane section. And this guy is talking to a couple of the guys in our air crew over there. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, it's go time, right? So I like walk up there to like, I wanted to introduce myself because these are the type of guys that when you're done flying in the military, these are the guys you want to know.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I like walked up to him and I was like, hey man, it's like, hey, my name's Blaise. Like, who are you? Blah, blah. So he let us take a tour of the plane, the Gulfstream 550. It was like brand new. It was fucking beautiful, dude. Black leather seats, fancy screens. Everything was perfect. Glasses, leather seats. Every seat in the back of the plane, Alex, came with its own phone and iPod. Every seat in
What
the
does that
plane.
even mean?
So
Like,
they had like phones and a TV that came out of the shelving, flipped up
the
there. They
televator.
had, oh my God, dude, I'm telling you, it was beautiful. I can send you a couple of photos, at least of what the cockpit looks like, because
Yeah,
the
we
guy
gotta
sent
throw
me
it
it.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I'm chopping it up with the guy, right? And I'm like, hey, like, and how'd you get the job? I guess he used to be a Navy flyer and he lives in Birmingham now. His name's Kevin. And I was like, Kevin, I was like, I got to get your phone number. Send me some pictures of the plane. And I was like, and now, I'm definitely going to hit you up and I'm going to come out to Birmingham. We're going to hang. And he said that he works for a private investor. So he was there just to actually sell the plane that he was with or
Mm.
flying around. But I guess the investor is probably going to get a new one or whatever and keep him on. And I was like, and you got to get me that job with him. So the funny thing is I texted him and he sent me the photos and was like, hey, it was nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I texted him back and I sent him a photo of us like operating down in Florida during the hurricane. And I was like, I'm stoked to meet your private investor, play some golf on me down in Birmingham. Let me know, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'll get the group started. He's like, make sure you keep in touch, blah, blah, blah. So all I'm
Hell yeah.
saying is we got the
Hell
private
yeah.
jet in. We're starting to work and
Wait,
we're
wait, wait. Let's
massaging
make the
that.
connection. What's the principle?
We're putting ourselves out there, man.
Put yourself
We're putting
out there,
ourselves out
man. The
there.
worst thing that can happen is what? What you
Is,
already
is
think. Nothing,
yeah,
right?
say no. Or they say no. But oh man,
That
it was
is
so cool.
awesome,
And
dude.
Kevin was the man. Old
Shout out
Navy
Kevin. Let's
pilot.
get him on the fucking pod, bro.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome, actually.
Let's
I might have to hit him up. Hit
let's
him
do
up and
it.
get him on.
Maybe like once you think you need to remind him who you are,
Yeah.
like let that
Genius.
be your update,
We'll let it
It's like,
marinate. Yeah.
hey, it's been a while. Just want to let you know, blah blah blah. And, maybe it could be
Yeah.
something cool like that.
How cool. A couple more things I want to hit on. Some good, some not so good. So we'll get through it. So kind of on the same hurricane stuff. So we went down, did the Florida hurricane relief mission. All things out there. I thought that we were going to go down there, and this is me making assumptions and doing what I shouldn't be doing too. When I got the call that we were officially going to like basically get ready to leave tomorrow, we got to pack up a plane, get ready to go. That we were going to go down there, and essentially we'd be like flying into Port Charlotte or down there by Naples where the storm got really, really bad and like picking up survivors and flying them up north or bringing down water or food or something like that. Right.
Hmm.
So we get down there. We got in really, really late. I believe we took off here on Thursday. We got in like early Friday morning. I think we finally got to the hotel like 2 a.m. East Coast time in Florida in Clearwater. And the next day, all we were told that we had to do is we had to fly the Admiral from Clearwater to Tallahassee, which is like an hour flight. And I like turn over and I look at the other guy and I'm like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on, dude? Like, did we come down here to, chauffeur an Admiral or did we come down here to, work and like help provide relief and, hurricane relief mission?
Yeah.
That's like
Put
literally
put
it's
me
in
in,
the
coach.
name,
Right?
that's, and I hate to say it, but when something like that happens and your name is called, like that's all you want to do is help, like in any way you can, whether that's, bringing water down, moving people, moving generators, doing whatever. Like you want to get involved, right? That's why every single person on the crew volunteered to go and, take time away from their family. One of the guys that went with us has a 4-year-old.
I
He's
didn't know
taking
that.
time away from his family, his wife and kid, so they can come down and, help these people that were devastated by a Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane. So we're down there and we flew the Admiral to Tallahassee. And he said that he had he was going to be on CNN when he got there. So he was like, well, we got to be there by 6:30 p.m. I'm going to be on CNN and then we'll be able to like fly back. So we're like, okay, sweet. So I'm thinking we load them up, we get them on, we're flying out there. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we'll land and we'll see like all the news crews out there and we'll like kind of pull up, but they wanted to use the plane as a backdrop. And I was like, oh, I don't know if we need to be in it or not, whatever. So we finally get there and I'm like looking around. I'm like, where's the news crew? Like I turn around. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Mhm.
The admiral has an aide, and that guy was he's a year younger than me in college. So I was familiar with him. We didn't really like chat a whole bunch in school, but I know him enough to know who he was. So this man pulls out a tablet and is like, hey, we need to prop this up because they're gonna zoom us into the CNN call from here. So I was like, wait, so there's no like news crew? He's like, bro, I am the news crew. So we literally take this tablet, and I can send you these photos too because it's fucking hilarious. And we take a ladder out of the plane designed for us to like inspect the engine, like if we like land and like take a bird in or something like that. And then we put a bunch of blue painter's tape across the rungs
Oh
of the
my
ladder
gosh.
with like a really thick like book that's full of like aviation. They call them approach plates, like instrument
Right.
stuff.
What kind of budget?
Listen. And then the tablet is leaning on that so it doesn't fall over in between the ladder rungs. And the admiral is sitting there like really, really close to the screen. And then there's us in the background with the plane. So like I got on CNN, which is, kind of cool,
That
but it
is
was
very
the most
cool.
low budget, like motherfucking thing I've ever seen in my entire
Unreal.
life. And like I said, it was so interesting. Like what the fact that he's on with, I forget, Wolf Blitzen is the guy's name. Well, you might have to edit that out if that's wrong. But it's some like really famous guy that's been all over CNN for so long and look like they don't do any work to get you on there, dude. So we do
Wow.
the interview, we fly back, and eventually the next day, I think all we did is we did a law enforcement like patrol. We're essentially covering for the guys that were doing work, the normal mission. So we are down looking for like migrant boats out off of like Key West and like the Tortugas. So we basically did like a sightseeing tour around like the northern part of Haiti, the Florida Straits, over by the Bahamas, and then came back. And then we flew home. And that was like our hurricane
Dang.
relief.
So it wasn't as expected.
No, it was nothing like what I expected it to be and what you know, again, me making assumptions,
Yeah.
of what I thought hurricane relief effort would look like. But on that note, I did get to reach out to, I'm not sure if I told you earlier this year, and this might be something that I didn't fill you in on before, but before all the housing prices went crazy, I was looking to refinance my house here in California and buy an investment property in St. Pete Beach to rent out. And when I was doing that, I was working with a realtor down there. Well, I still like chat with her back and forth. She sometimes sends me properties, but she's super nice lady. And I hit her up when I went down there. I was like, hey, I hope that, it's Blaise. I hope that you're okay with the storm. Hope that your family, friends are okay. Your house is fine, and et cetera, et cetera. And she basically came back to me and was like, hey, everything's fine. Like, thanks for checking up. And then she goes on and says, like, my son and our like really close like family friend who I call a daughter are going down for relief effort today. They're going to be down there. They were in like Naples, like helping clean up all day. And then she's like, but she wants to call you. And I was like, what do you mean she wants to call me? She's like, well, she wants to like see if there's any way that they can help or, bring supplies or whatever. So I was like, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to be the best person to ask, but she can for sure call me. You can send her my phone number. So this girl who can't be older than 30 calls me up and is like, hey, I thank you for all that you guys are doing, which to me, I was like, now I feel like a fraud because we haven't done shit. Right. Um, she's like, thank you for like your guys' service is doing a great job down there, blah, blah, blah. We're just trying to figure out like what we can do to help. Like I've got a bunch of money. I've got bunch of supplies. I've like went down there yesterday to try to help out. Do you guys like know of any like places we can get inflatable boats or like flat bottom boats so we can go in and get people out? Because Sanibel Island down there, the only way on and off the island was a bridge, which is now collapsed. So like people are literally legit like stranded on the island unless someone helicopters them off or unless they're taking a boat off. So And I'm like telling this girl, like, hey, thank you guys. And I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask, but here's a contact information for the Coast Guard unit that's close. I think they should be able to help you out. And it was just so uplifting to me that someone and by the way, that's 2.5 or 3 hours north is where that we were from where the storm like really, really hit.
Oh,
So the
she's
fact
willing to
that,
commute.
yeah, that they went down there and they did it like 2 days and they're willing to bring more stuff down because that's just like they're willing to help each other out.
Damn.
And it was crazy because I saw so many videos of like people in diesel trucks going down there and towing people out. They've got, people with boats that are all over the coast that are just pulling in there, bringing food, water, bringing gas, bringing, whatever. And it's sad that the natural disaster happens for this to happen, but it's also really, really, I don't know, it makes you feel like homey almost like the
The faith
family.
in humanity
Yeah,
type,
for sure.
like,
Like
yeah,
totally reinstills that because like not only are they helping people, helping out, help thy neighbor, they're helping people that are hundreds of miles away that just
yeah,
had this stuff happen to them and that feel for them. And they may have lost everything that they owned and they're
right,
going down
right.
there to help them out. And it is like really, really incredible. So,
That's like Florida thing though too, right? Like, isn't I mean, not just the people thing, right? Isn't Florida like stick together,
I don't know,
Some
man.
Florida strong type?
I guess they are, but I'd say like every place has their own natural disaster, right? Like
Right.
California's got fires. You guys even have fires. I didn't realize how dry Maui was until I
Yeah.
was down there, but you guys are dry too. And Florida's got hurricanes and the middle of the country's got tornadoes. But I don't know if I've ever heard of like people in neighboring towns when a tornado goes through, like going in to like help bail
Yeah.
some people out and offer them a place or food or water or any of that
Well,
type of stuff, right?
dude, LA, nobody gives a fuck about each other. So
Well, that's what
that's
I'm
like
saying. So
that's
it's
not
it's
a
it was really, really refreshing to kind of like see that and even hear it firsthand from a complete stranger who had no business reaching out to me
yeah.
to ask how they could help.
Dude, I have something cool that's a parallel. Is I remember thinking I don't do a good job writing down things to talk about the podcast. I feel like I hear you say things that helps me remember things, but I don't. Maybe I should do better. Like in the day, just stop and write it in the notes. But I was thinking about I think it was at the airport. I don't know. It's like the voice inside people to like be kind to people, and it's like in what situations do we see that? Like seeing somebody struggle to carry something, or seeing like somebody's reaching for their luggage and they're clearly not getting there fast enough and somebody grabs it and gives it down. You know what I mean? Like the kind of like, you know, on the airplane, lifting the thing down. It's like you can see that the person's I don't know, it's cool because it's like I feel like we see so much people not being cool with each other. And you think about like morbid fascination too, like fighting videos. Like I've seen so many fighting videos. Like that also might have something to do with who I am because I know Instagram has an algorithm.
World
So
star,
yeah,
world
whatever you
star.
whatever you click on. But I'd like to honestly say more times than not, you don't see good stuff online. You see like bad shit or like this new generation of fucking assholes that go and punk our parents' age people like at stores and like some of the videos out there, man, I'm just like makes me mad to think that my grandma could be doing her thing unplugged from this online, like messing with people, like the people that go up with the tube and moan in people's ears, like people just at Home Depot minding their business, like I feel like there's so much out there that it's like shakes your head. So to your point, the whole faith in humanity and like that was nice to see is it's like, yeah, we talk about the power of compliments, we talk about like doing right by others. We don't really say that, but that's what we're about. But yeah, man, like that's really cool to hear. And people do come together when there's a common threat, when war, like talk about like the conflict between each other. Think about uh what was it? Think about Straight Outta Compton, bro. Do you remember the video you watched the movie?
Yeah.
Dude, when like the Crips and the Bloods tie their flags together and walk down, it's like when there's like a new reason for people to come together, it's like it's kind of cool. Put
100%.
your differences aside, but I don't know, just that's cool. like when do people go out of their way to do nice or to do right by others? It's kind of like when you wish, that they would, hold the door for them. They're carrying shit. I
Yeah,
don't know, just like
exactly.
simple stuff.
Just small things. And, to that point, it's, hold the door for someone, or like the luggage thing, I think is a great example. Like the 80-year-old woman trying to press, like, overhead press her luggage up into the thing when she's 5'4". Like,
Right.
just stand up and help out, dude. That's
Right.
you.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I almost forgot this. All right. Do you have something you're going to say? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So in Oahu, we're sitting at the gate. It's nighttime, Sunday night. It's time to go home. We're the first ones there, except one other couple across from us. And there's a phone going off, and nobody knows where it is. And this airport worker at the gate answers the phone, and he has it on speaker. And it's this uncle, older guy. And we all get to hear this girl on the phone tell us and tell him that she left her phone at the gate and she's in Maui. So she's like, can you bring it to me? How can you get it? Whatever. And then I look at the dude. I said, let me talk to her. I'm going to Maui right now. So I get on the phone with this chick holding her phone. And I'm like, hey, my name is Alex. And then she's like, hey, oh my gosh, I left my phone. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm literally about to be in Maui. My flight's in an hour. I'll just give you my flight number and then you could just meet me at the airport. And then she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's no inconvenience to me because I'm already going.
I'm getting on the plane anyway.
Yeah. So like she's all thankful and stuff, but it just felt like the right thing to do. And Jasmine, she's watching or whatever. And the guy gets my information. I get the airport workers. I send text to them saying, hey, my name is Alex Freeman. Hey, this is the flight number. I told her, I said, don't make me wait for you, please. Like, I want to go home. So as long as I'm not waiting for you when I get there. I even asked, like, are you on Lahaina side? Because I'm going there too. You could even save a trip, but she was Wailuku. We get to the airport. We didn't check in any bags. Go straight to Starbucks at the front. Gave me $100 cash, baby.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Look at you.
So it was dope. It was like, I literally even manifested that in my head. I swear to God. I wish I would have told Jasmine because I said, I'm like, damn, I wonder if she's going to pay me because like I'm doing something nice for her and it would cost her a lot of money to have somebody else send it or to lose it, replace it. And then I'm like, even in my head, I was like, $100 sounds like a good number. Where on my life?
No, it just felt good, Alex. Don't front. You'd have done it for anybody. But again,
I didn't say give me cash or I'll do it.
Yeah. You should have held it for ransom. Been like, listen, I'm not giving it back.
Listen, bitch, the worker's gone.
That's right. That's right. This is the real deal. What does Liam Neeson say on the phone? He's like, I don't know who you are. Yeah, I will find you.
I will kill you.
But I think that everybody kind of has that almost like sixth sense when something like that, like when you see the lady doing that, or when you hear that guy on the phone, she's like, oh, I'm in Maui and I need my phone back. Like, you're like, oh, wait, I'm going to Maui. Wait, I could help out. And I think some people just don't put themselves out there to do that or take that step, that initiative step of like helping out. And I think that a lot of people could, benefit from that. So
yeah, so that's dope.
There's a challenge. There's a podcast challenge. Act on your sixth sense, bro. Act on your sixth sense.
Do unto others. It feels good to do good. We talk about this. Even like I haven't even really said these words, but the whole Why So Grim brand that I've been building is based off of you reap what you sow. You put in hard work and like the whole reaping and sowing. So it's cool that how did I forget that? I haven't even said that out loud in a long time. And I have scales in my logo to balance, like to be good. And yeah, dude, it was a dope story. Got $100. She's paying for me and Jasmine's dinner date this Friday night. So it's lit.
Hell yeah. So I've got another thing that's kind of on a more sad note. I
got something heavy too. So I'll keep the vibe going.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Sorry, everybody in advance. So long story, I guess I got to backtrack a little bit. So I found out this week while I was actually in Florida that my best friend from middle school, his younger brother passed away, who he was like, not to like belabor this and maybe we can come back to another episode, but essentially the guy and I used to, in middle school, we would stay at each other's houses almost like every weekend and be like, he's at my house, I'm down at his house. our families know each other, our brothers know each other. Like we're like super close, right? We go out on the boat all the time, wakeboard, do all these types of things together. And in high school, we kind of drifted apart. We kind of took two different paths. And again, we can talk about this another time for sure. But finding out that his brother passed away, man, even though the guy and I haven't really talked in a long time, dude, that's like heavy stuff, man. Somebody that you had spent so much time with, and he had just finished like the first part of Ranger School as
Oh
a
shit.
and he was an Army officer who just finished up college, and I guess he was in a car accident. And just reading that, and then even just like I haven't talked to the guy, my old best friend in middle school. His name is Jake. I hadn't talked to him since, I don't know, at least high school. It's been almost 10 years. But I reached out to him and his mom uh, a couple of days ago because I was just like, man, I just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, and I thought back, and I think I talked about this with you privately, but my brother got in a motorcycle accident pretty recently that really gave our family a scare because he had to get rushed to a level 1 trauma center because
Right.
they thought
I forgot.
he
Yeah.
thought he had head trauma. And just hearing that story just kind of brought me back to that moment. I was like, man, if that would have went a different way, like I don't, it's just something that's really, really tough to grapple with. So,
Yeah. Every day is a blessing, right? We've
for
said
sure,
before.
man.
Thank
Like
God
thoughts
we're
and
here.
prayers. Like
We're still here.
he goes through Army Ranger School, and I'm not sure exactly what is involved in that, or what, but I'm sure it's more dangerous than getting in your car, or maybe
Right.
less. I mean, based on what happened. So it's just sad, man. You gotta take advantage and appreciate and love people while they're around, because you don't know, when it might be your last time getting in the car. So it was,
Dude, that's crazy you say that because I once a month, sometimes twice a month, will go with my coworker on we do inventory for all of the concierge desks. So we have to drive on the west side and hit a couple of them. And every time we get in the car, she has rosaries hanging at her mirror and she touches it and does the cross. And it like reminds me every time she does it that like, yeah, you never know. Like every time she does it, it reminds me to be like, holy shit, like we take getting home safe for granted every day. Like talking about like probability of death. Yeah, vehicles are just machines, and we're just bags of meat going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour every day. And we just don't even acknowledge that, life is so short. And we have a CHP officer, family friend, John, my dad's best friend, his oldest son, Cameron, my brother and him would hang out. And then there was me and RJ, and we'd hang out on all the family trips. Well, he's a California highway patrolman. And he just talks about this is actually something I wanted to talk about. Wow, full circle. Um, one of the things he says is you can be right and dead. So it's amazing how road rage works and how it's like it's my turn to turn. It's green. I was the first at the stoplight. I was the first one at the stop sign, right? Like the person walking, it's my right of way. And like there's so much aggression and people are like, there's not a lot of defensive drivers anymore, it feels like.
yeah.
And he would say that, yes, you could be right. It was your turn. And you were doing everything right, but you still die because your situational awareness allowed that to get in the way of your own safety.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up too, because when I was learning to drive, I was told that driving is much less so, about your ability to, operate a vehicle in a lane or do X, Y, or Z, because that all comes. It's more of your ability to predict other people's behavior. So if you see the guy in your rear view bombing up, weaving through 4 lanes, like maybe changing lanes then is a bad idea,
Right.
because then he may ran into the back of your car.
Right.
Or, just understanding that, people repeat behavior. So just like looking around, and the guy texting on his phone who's like this, like going like this right next to you, maybe it's not a good idea to hang out in their blind spot for a little bit,
Right.
because maybe they're just going to merge over or swerve over on accident and then hit you. So maybe it's a good idea to get past them. So I think
Right.
too, like a lot of that those things that you're hitting on are really good points. And, to be safe, be safe
Right.
out there.
Past 11 p.m., like be careful, bro. People driving
Yeah.
out there drunk. Like, you know, uh he talked about motorcycles. Oh my gosh, this is another update for you. Uh he would talk about motorcycles, and he's like, if you want to buy a motorcycle, just know, I mean, you could die. Like I remember seeing the most horrible photo ever of a real thing. I probably have to edit that out because I don't think he's supposed to show me that. But it was just a foot. It was just a foot in a pile of body, and it was just the mortality of from your protection to the skin to the meat to the bone, and that with 40, 50 miles an hour hitting the ground, just like seconds, boom, it's gone, you know? So I just rode Jared bought bikes, electric bikes, dirt bikes. They're huge, like $7,000 each. And he assembled and built 2 of them and took me riding for the first time on Monday. Fucking opened this new world to me, bro. Like, it was so fun. Like, understanding, I had never been on one before, like even dirt bikes, anything with a throttle, I had never tried. I've ridden a bike, both hands on the brakes. Like, I'm comfortable on that. Like, being on an expensive, heavy, heavy, heavy ass bike and like getting on and then having my feet just sit there. And then like him explaining a clutch and explaining like, don't bother touching the left, like stay on the right, but then don't put your hand on the right brake, because just hold the throttle and use your right toes on the right side to push down to brake. And like remembering that and being in the helmet with the gloves, and like it was a lot. And like I would mess up, and I would, the videos of people just holding the throttle and just like flipping and like going straight into a building. Like, I've seen so many of those. So I was so careful. I was very nervous, but it was so fun, dude. I'm like, thank you for taking me riding. And I would love to go out. Like, anytime he says, do you want to go? I'm going to go. Cause
Yeah, dude, it's
I'm
fun,
not trying
man.
to buy that anytime soon, but man, was that fun.
Yeah.
And it's so
fun.
fucking dangerous. Maui, you can only go like, you can't even go 60 on the whole island. There's like no spot to even go fast. So it's probably way safer here. And there's a lot of guys out here, local dudes, shirtless, driving fast on these cars or
No
on these
helmet,
bikes.
of course.
Yeah, that was super fun. But yeah, bikes are dangerous. Like hella dangerous.
Yeah. Man, what else you got? You said you had one more thing too to keep with the sad train of.
Okay.
I don't want to be all over the sad train, but
let's this is something I actually do need to talk to you about. Let's do Cry Like a Man. Not so next episode we want to have Talon on. And then the following, let's do Cry Like a Man, because I haven't read it. It's been a while since I read it. I just watched the interview that Rogan had on him on. Maybe you could watch that too. And then I didn't even realize that he was on the Breakfast Club, so I started watching that one too, just to get more and more besides just us reading the book. So we can save that and not talk about it today. But my mom, and I'm sure she's gonna be okay with me saying this. I'll try to just maybe keep as much information as I can private and just stick with the points. But her let's just say a relative, whatever. So a relative of my family reached out to my mom, and on their catching up on life had 2 different references to suicide. They said, if I just walked off a cliff, everything would be easier. Kept talking, blah, 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 blah. If I just walked into the ocean, everything would go away, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, yo, like you literally just in this one conversation has had 2 references to like killing yourself, acting like that's a solution or even an option. And this person's religious too. So they kind of talked about like, it doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that you can't commit suicide. There's the obvious thou shalt not kill. So that's kind of a thing too. It's like there's a group
but
of
she
people
brought that up when they were on the phone though. She like said that like
yeah. And it was open discussion. This person does go to therapy, so like them struggling is part of life. And my mom told me that they still wear my fight or flight suicide prevention shirt, and that people ask what the phone number is on the back, and like they find comfort wearing that. And I was like, that's 6 years ago, and this 6-year-old shirt is out there in this random town walking around, and like it still means something. And I felt like that was a sign that me and you should roll out our first ever shirts, putting the suicide prevention campaign on the How You Been Bro shirts. And I reached out to Dan, and I told Dan, I'm like, dude, like this is a powerful story. Like your design, like what you helped me put out there, like it's still helping somebody. And like I was like, dude, like I feel like this is an incredible opportunity for us to to just go with it, you know? And like, it's, I talked about fight or flight being rebranded. Like, the heart of what fight or flight was is what we're doing here. So this is fight or flight. This is fighting for things that matter. This is meaningful conversation and fighting for things and bringing awareness. And I used to say that I felt like awareness was overrated because people are, well aware that suicide's a problem, and like putting something out, like awareness obviously is important, but for something as big as that, I felt like action is where like donating or campaigning. And like, I remember my suicide prevention campaign was the first thing I ever did, and I didn't have a lot of success, and I only wanted to donate half of all profit, but then I donated all of it because there was so little. And then I didn't do a good job branding fight or flight, so that when I rolled over and did my first ever merchandise drop, everybody thought it was going to the suicide prevention. So then it was like people were wearing it on college campus because it was more of a hype brand. So I didn't do a good job, and I was just learning. I was in marketing classes at the time, like understanding, like make sure your people know what you're about. I just didn't do a good job branding. So then I felt almost like a little bit of a fraud at the time, because I was like, shit, like this was supposed to be just for the brand, and then the campaigns are for this, but the merch isn't. But regardless, there was a lot that I learned that I could bring to the table, that we could try to do things right. Um, but yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think it's awesome. It's funny that you talked about what your mom did, and I'm not sure if she has had any like legitimate training for how to deal with that stuff or not, but we in the military have to do trainings all the time about, suicide prevention trainings
Oh,
and all
really?
these other things. Yeah, that's like
Wow.
it's mandatory for us to do. And then you can even take it a step further, which I signed up for like doing like I want to say it's about a week long course where they talk to you about essentially like recognizing additional signs, how to, attack them, how to, be there for somebody in the event that they are starting to feel like they were going to harm themselves, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and, the most important step that your mom did was like having an open dialogue about it and not just being like, that sixth sense of that tickling in her ear that's like they just said this and then shrugged it off. And then
Yeah.
no, like address that topic and be completely open, like, are you like serious about this?
Yeah.
And call a duck, and then
Right.
you have to do that, or else somebody is not going to understand the gravity of what they just said in that context unless you do that. Because if you say that and then like, yeah, I mean, I am thinking that, then you have to take additional steps or maybe help them seek medical care or professional psychiatric care, whatever the case is. But without
Yeah.
taking that first step as a bystander. And you know what, like I've had people that work for me that have said things like that and were suicidal. And these, like, me at the time I was 18, and then most recently is like in my early 20s. So what does a 18, 19-year-old do? Like
Yeah.
no one really talks to you about that, especially when you're younger in high school, or unless you've, really, really put the time in to learn about things like that. I mean, you're just really just too busy chasing girls and playing sports, or at least I was. So you're not always going to be trained for somebody to come to you with suicidal thoughts or intentions, but making sure that you're asking them the question if they're legit and serious, I think is a huge first step. So kudos to your mom for handling that in such a mature and good way. What ended up happening for that? I don't want to keep you too late, but
I I'm not sure. I mean, they're still going through stuff. Um, I bought her a card today. I haven't talked to them in a long time. But I'm not sure. I just, more than anything, I was just like, I've already had ideas going for like when we would start putting something out there. And maybe me and you could even figure out how to get shirts out there, because like without charging, maybe me and you could figure out, buy 100 shirts, split the cost, and like maybe, I don't really want to sell them at cost, but we could. But even like my buddy Nate, I can't wait to have him on. He's a Marine, and he's been kind of going through some stuff lately. Nothing suicide stuff, but just, life. Uh and I told him about what I just told you, and he was saying, yeah, man, like suicide is talked about in military, and like I didn't hear anything about a course. That's incredible that you even have the opportunity to learn a skill as valuable as that. But I was just thinking how cool, like if he just had a box of shirts on his door, and then all of a sudden a whole unit, 100 people that he knows out there can all have, because these meaningful stuff like this, man, is something that anybody gets behind. It's about the why, So for us to do something, we can talk about it, of course, but just planting the seed for the idea. I found success with my brand because I created a lot of demand at one time by getting a lot out there. You get the exposure, then people saying, yo, where are these shirts coming from? That piques interest. And then that's where it kind of blew up. But I also did it on a college campus. So us being remote and online and all that, it's going to be a lot harder and more rewarding, to create our own community of people, because that's what we're doing right now. And if you ever get people that reach out to you and are encouraged about the podcast, I hope you send it my way, because I got some stuff to send you, dude. And like, for me to get a text earlier, I don't know if they'll want me to say their name, but somebody literally just said that they listened to episode 8 again and wants to call and talk and like get advice or bounce something off. Like, it's just like, damn, like that's sick. Is that like, I don't have the best memory in the world too. So it's fun that I talked to Nick and then he said something. Nick had really high, like he spoke of us in a high regard, and he was saying how he gets to sit and listen to us go back and forth, and how me and you compliment each other, and how he feels like at any point we could just, if me and you shut up, it would be his turn to talk, like it was cool. And Isabel, she wakes up at 5:30 and or 5:15 and drives like an hour 15 plus to her job and listens to us in the morning. And
sorry, Isabel, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's cool, man. And I just think that we're even like the views per episode. I remember telling you ahead of time, and I didn't get too excited. The first episode, we got like almost 200 views by now, 200 listens, and then each one has just got significantly less and less. But then now that we've plateaued, it's starting to pick up. So like, we're gonna find our listeners, we're gonna find the people that find comfort. And again, maybe next episode we need to start with this, because who knows if they get this far in. Please tell us if you listen. Like I don't know if you feel that way, but I want to know. Because even like Rob, Rob's like loved the pod, bro, and was like, yo, you talked about COD. And then now, because of that, he said he's able to connect with his buddies and catch up on life literally based off of people that game together. So I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna get home and pre-order the new Modern Warfare, and then that could be like a way for me and him to catch up on life. And you're gonna enjoy when he's on the pod, because he's in the army, and he's gonna have you. I'm enjoying, like, I don't know about you, my dad a little bit, so that was less of like an introduction, but more of like developing a relationship. I can't wait to like jump in with your brother, knowing nothing about him, listening to you guys, and then like me asking him stuff. And then like when I have somebody on, we'll have inside jokes. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a fun thing that we have, bringing our own people. And even like having Nate and you talk about military stuff, and then having Rob and you and whatever, like I really do enjoy. The dynamic is going to continue to change based off of the guest, based off of how well we know the guest, history. Even today, I feel like I have so much to talk about with you. Like it's dope. And this is the third session now because we had technical difficulties. So I can't get caught up and then start anything, because then I'll be talking to you forever.
I know. Well, and you got a movie to catch by yourself.
I gotta go see. Gotta go get scared
by yourself. Yeah,
well, fucking loser.
So look at Steven Glansberg watching a movie by himself.
Hey man, gotta
hey,
treat
man.
myself.
I get it. Enjoy. It's your season, baby. It's your season. But yeah, so Talon, my brother, should be on next week. He said that he's pretty open, so we'll get him on
Sunday. Any idea?
Oh, I need to look at my schedule, honestly, because I just got back to California yesterday.
Right.
So I have been not really looking at my schedule at all. I just know this weekend I'm actually flying for the Fleet Week down in San Francisco. I'm gonna be doing what they call like formations flying. So like it'll be us and a Coast Guard helicopter flying like, I don't know, less than 20 feet away from each other, like down
Oh,
like
for
by
people
San
to like
Francisco. Yeah,
look
for
up
like kind of
and
like a an air show, but
flexing.
it yeah, right. But yeah, fortunate enough to do that. So we have a practice day tomorrow and then we'll do it over the weekend. So maybe we'll get some cool pictures of that so we can add them
Hell
and
yeah,
we can chat about it. But
for sure, dude.
yeah, man.
But life is good. Attitude, keep a positive attitude. You know, I'm in the same situation that I was 2 weeks ago, but my attitude's different. So things have been good. You know, kicking ass at work.
Playing
Hooping.
basketball. Yeah, that's what you need,
Yeah,
man.
hooping, bro.
Get out, play.
Um, I'm really
That's
looking forward to us talking about the Cry Like a Man. I actually had like um just this conversation has been so organic. I like couldn't take away from what we were saying to do the Cry Like a Man. So that's why I said the disclaimer that let's save it, because I literally had like an epiphany. Like I was on FaceTime with my brother at like 4 and like maybe 4:15, and then I was like, I gotta go. I got something to do, and I realized that I needed to refresh my memory on Cry Like a Man. So I started watching the clips, and then I was just realizing about like he was talking about how you process things or things you do, and then I'm like, dang, I did that in high school. I did that in high school twice. I did that when I was in California. I just did that again 6 months ago. Like things that aren't good and show something about myself. And there's some psychology or something must be attached to it. But just how you process your emotions and how you act. And, you know, maybe my little cliffhanger is I tend to like run out on things, like in a literal sense, is that like if I'm in a situation I don't want to be in, I will walk away. And I've done that in school, in a classroom. I've done that in the gym, and I've done that at 2 jobs. And I'm like, damn, like I don't know, like just something that was said in the YouTube clip I was watching. I was like, wow, like that's not good. Like, you know, like even like when I had to return to work after the kidney stone stuff, after I was like in a dark place, like I was not wanting to go in. And I was just like, I gotta be a man and face this shit and go in and deal with, you know, being away and even just admitting fault and saying that I'm sorry I had a bad attitude over the last month and all that. Like it was hard for me. But yeah, my normal tendency. But we'll talk about it. And I feel like we might even actually uncover something together, because I had never really thought about it. But looking back, I found a pattern. So it's gonna be interesting.
oh, for sure. Well, I
Um
know Talon probably didn't read the book, so we'll have to curb that for
oh, did I say next episode? Sorry.
yeah,
I meant
no.
next
That's
time
okay.
we
It's a double cliffhanger if you remember that
yeah.
far.
Right. So challenge of the episode, do right? You said the sixth sense, that could be our new
Yeah,
bit is
when that sixth sense is kind of tickling the back of your head, go help out, whether it's with someone calling about a suicidal thought or tendency or somebody that just needs help with a bag,
yeah,
don't be
honestly,
afraid to
dude.
help out.
Hell yeah. Or, you know, bring a phone on a flight, get paid, boy. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Or hold it for
um,
ransom.
yeah, right. But all right, well, I'm also glad that we cleared the air, because I dead ass thought we were about to beef on live when you like said you wanted to talk about before we started, and then you didn't, and then you hit start and then said let's talk about it. I'm like, oh shit,
Well,
like
I know.
I'm really glad that we were good,
Interestingly
because that
enough,
would have been interesting.
well, I thought that would be kind of cool to see if it went, even if it went bad, and at least
Well,
it
you
was
put me on the spot.
organic,
Like, what if you
Yeah.
totally just put me on the spot? And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad it went well, because yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll let you know about when my brother can be on and we'll make it happen.
Okay. He's same time zone as you, right? He's Cali, or is he somewhere else?
No, he's in Maryland, but
Oh,
he's a night owl, so he's 3 hours ahead, but he stays up mad late because he's
3 hours ahead of
crazy.
you.
Yes.
So
So
6 hours ahead of me.
yes,
Okay.
big differences.
Yeah.
But he says, we can probably do whenever because he's always up really late. So
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. And then I got my next lined up. I want Hen to be on.
nice.
And he's excited. He even said his birthday's next month and he wanted it close to his birthday. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. Like he thinks this is a treat, bro. Like
That's
he's
it.
he's
Happy
linking it
birthday.
up with
You don't
like,
have to get him anything now. You can just give
yeah,
him this. Yeah.
you're welcome. But yeah, dude. Well, thanks for your time. Much love. Thanks. I'm glad we had conflict resolution and it was just communication. That was minor compared to what it could have been, you know.
I know.
So I'm glad that we cleared the air. So tomorrow sometime I'll hit you up because I'll need you to click the activation link. I'll just say, let me know when you're
Yeah.
by your computer. I'll just do it really quick, and then I'll start getting I'll get 1 through 9 on there slowly but surely over the next week.
For sure. Yeah, no
Probably
rush.
one a day for sure.
But I also think that the t-shirt thing would be a really cool idea. So let's, get the ball rolling and maybe hit Dan up.
I already did, bro.
Oh, well, what the fuck, man? What's going on?
I already did. He already sent me proofs. I've been really busy, so I wanted him to tweak some stuff. That's another thing that I do need to talk to you about is like, and is it like, do I need to ask for your blessing on stuff, or like, do I have like creative liberty to run with it? Because I've spent money, like I paid for the thumbnails. I didn't ask you, because what if you didn't want it? I'd still be willing to spend. That's something too, is that like, if it's something I'm passionate about, is it on my dime if you're not about it, or are we only doing something we both agree on? So that's something, again, that I didn't ask for permission. I just went for it. And
How'd they come out?
well, he didn't put any t-shirt mocks yet. He just sent me the way it would look. And
Okay,
I
okay.
forgot to tell him that we needed to change that zigzag to match the HYBB, even though
Right.
it's only HYBB. Like, we want to see the spelling with that same font.
Yeah,
So that was a good call to fix that. So I totally agree with that one. But I already have the suicide prevention shirts I've done before. So I mean, I can show you what it looks like, but within the coming days, I can send you a mock-up. And I was thinking white shirt with the green and black font, and then black shirt with the green and
Yeah, for sure.
white
That's
font. So I
exactly
mean,
actually what I was thinking. Then,
it would be clean.
HYBB on the front and then a number on the back, or
Or we could do pocket HYBB, or it could be the spelled out. Like,
yeah.
we can figure out. We can also be strategic too. Like, instead of so many variables on one, it's kind of like this or that.
Yeah. And you know what else? We could do giveaway.
Oh,
We could
100%.
do like
$100%.
we could sell some, and then we could just do giveaways for like, I don't know, whatever.
How about this? Oh, how about this? Next episode with Talon, we'll do a disclaimer that X amount of people that check in with us, that they listened, we'll get it to them.
Okay.
So it's
We'll do
not
that.
like
We'll
we're
do
not
like,
telling it, we're not posting it. It's just people that listen. I also feel like if we did it right now, they would literally have to listen for an hour and 16, because some people can just fall off because their commute's 30 minutes and they
right.
wanted to listen, but they don't have that much drive time. So we can't get all the really good juicy stuff at the end, or maybe those are the true fans.
Those
Only
are the true fans. Don't forget.
hit the end.
Don't
Yeah,
forget.
yeah. So yeah, I'm totally about it, dude. I love that. So the people that support us, we just throw it at them, and then
Yeah, then
hell yeah.
maybe we'll sell a few. And again, I'm good with just, recouping and donating all that money. If there's any
Right.
money that comes in, I
Well,
definitely don't.
that's something too, is
Yeah.
like, is it we're donating off a profit, right? We break even, then we give away. That's something too. Is it like, or do we make our money back before we donate, or just everything, like, we put money in, we'll never see it again, everything that you guys give is going somewhere else? Like, we can figure that out as well.
Cool, man. I'm about it.
Hell yeah. All right, dude. Well, I got a movie to catch.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Thanks for having a cool lifestyle, so we can like compliment each other and shit. You're the badass pilot, you got some cool shit.
You gotta catch a movie. You only got 20 minutes till showtime.
Later, dude.
All right, bro. Bye. Oh boy.